I'm Chris. I'm Neil. And I'm Mark. And today, NOTCAST 299, 22nd of June, 2023, I am going to be talking about the finest songwriting duo that's ever come out of Britain. Yes, I said it. Better than Lennon and McCartney and better than Morrissey and Marr. It is Tennant and Lowe, Pet Shop Boys. And their most recent release, the 6-disc or 5-disc or mega disc, mini disc box set, Smash, the singles between 1985 and 2020. I'm going to talk about what's not on it, what is on it, what's on it and probably could be better. And also about when I saw them on Saturday night. I went to see them on Saturday night on the Dreamworld tour, their greatest hits tour at London's Wembley Arena, venue of dreams, when I was younger. I'd hesitate to say young, I'm not young, but when I was young, Wembley Arena was seen as a venue of legend, a place where amazing things happened. Like I had a bootleg tape of The Cure at the Wembley Arena on the last UK show of the Disintegration tour. I had, I think, a bootleg of New Order at Wembley Arena as well, and all these things. And I was like, this place must be incredible. And when I got there, and I was like, it's a bit rubbish, isn't it? But it's not the venue that makes the magic. It's the crowd, and it's the band, and it's the experience, and it's the songs. And Pet Shop Boys songs, when I was watching them on Saturday night, they are the story of my life. Now, that sounds really, really weird, but at every point in their career when they've released something, it has connected to me at that point in my life and my journey through from birth all the way through to whatever happens right at the end of it, where I have a change of cosmic address. Those songs have always connected to me. The new stuff still does. I was thinking this the other day, actually. I was watching Pulp at the Isle of Wight on television about how bands don't do new stuff. I tend to lose interest in them because they end up being nostalgia machines, and they end up being acts that don't create new memories. They just remind you of how good they once were. Even bands that I love that haven't released new albums for a while, The Cure and the Sisters of Mercy, for example, they have new stuff. They just don't have new records. And so there's new memories which are coming into that. And it's really, really important to have new stuff as well as old stuff. I know records don't sell very much. In fact, as of yesterday, Smash has sold 7,832 copies in the UK. It is on target to be in the top 5 at the end of the year. Now, 7,832 is not many. I remember Shakespeare's Sisters limited edition Stay CD single that was only pressed in 500,000, for example. I remember lots of records where like, oh, there's 20,000 of it, 10,000 of it. Do you think you'll ever get a copy? People just don't buy stuff these days. So yes, I am a dinosaur. I love my physical media. I love things, mass-produced works of art that you can touch and hold, and you can take out of the package, and you can feel, and you go, that's real. That's the story of a life there, a life captured on vinyl. Now there is other formats to Smash. There is a white vinyl 6LP box set that sold out. It was about £140. There's a 3 cassette set. Is anyone ever going to listen to that? I don't know. I've gone for the 3 CD plus 2 Blu-ray plus book version, which handily enough is currently on Amazon for £36, and that's a bargain. But perhaps not as much of a bargain as you might think when I start talking about it later on. So I pick up the Pet Shop Boys story with a couple of things. This is Pet Shop Boys the Singles, 1985 to 2020. And the strange thing about that is that there's a load of omissions on Smash that just aren't there. But the band haven't exactly been kind of sat on their laurels recently. They have been busy, even though they haven't released officially a new single to go with the greatest hit set or anything like that. They've had a number of things which have come out. So 2020 saw, I think, the My Beautiful Laundrette soundtrack EP that was available with the Phone Club magazine, straight book, annually, and this features 7 songs on it, and one of them, No Boundaries, has become a B-side of another single. There was also in 2021 there was a CD with the annually edition for that year, the Cricket Wife EP. Cricket Wife is a 12-minute song, which goes into some strange, unusual new territory. Very definitely a B-side. very definitely quite interesting, but not exactly hit single territory at all. B-side of that is West End Girls Lockdown version, which was on YouTube, still is actually. And then stepping outside of the annually releases, we had in June 2021, we had the Cosmic Fringes remixes or remix of Paul Weller. I think this is the only Paul Weller item I actually own. The other Paul Weller stuff I've got isn't solo Paul Weller, it's Jam and Style Council. I don't like solo Weller. But the Cricket Wife EP, sorry, Cosmic Fringes, there is, this remix is glorious. Do give it a listen. It's 12 minutes and it's just been turned into a Pet Shop Boys song that Paul Weller sings on. And it's got this lovely lyrical conceit in it. The lyrical conceit being actually Cosmic Fringes is that you are not influenced by anything outside of yourself, not influenced by culture or art or politics. You're completely self-made. The idea that you exist on the fringes of the cosmos in a world of your own making, and it's a very very apposite for Pet Shop Boys actually, because when I listen to them, I get the feeling that they're somehow kind of exist in a slightly different parallel universe to the one that I live in, and they're just beaming in transmissions from elsewhere. So during and post-lockdown, Pet Shop Boys have not released much in the way of new material. Certainly nothing in the way of a single or announced a new album, though I think they are recording a new album, but it's mostly been remixes. So in June 21, we had Cosmic Fringes. In May 22, we had this, which is Insanely Alive by Wolfgang Tilman, which they mentioned as a song that they liked. And then it got a 12-inch release on standard black vinyl with a Pet Shop Boys maxi mix and a radio edit and a couple of other remixes as well. And listen to this today. There is something about what Pet Shop Boys do with rhythms and bass and stuff, and I just absolutely love it. It's wonderful. Makes me have feelings in built-up areas. It's just absolutely lovely. And then we had in November 22, we had a couple of releases. The first one, I think, or the first one I'm going to mention, are remixes of Claptone's Queen of Ice, and featuring Dizzy. And it's a Pet Shop Boys extended remix, a moody mix, and a 7-inch mix here on a 12-inch that was released for Black Friday. This is a glorious little package, less than a little. It comes on this wonderful kind of cloudy, weird, coloured vinyl type thing. And these remixes are available for streaming. I really like them. Again, it feels like they're doing cover versions of the original act's track with or a collaboration with them and turning them into Pet Shop Boys songs. Really, really interesting approach. Very similar to when they did the Losing My Mind and the Liza Minnelli, that's Liza with the Z, not Liza with an S, and Dusty Springfield stuff, when it felt like they were Pet Shop Boying, if that's a word, other acts material, saying this is our version of it. Queen of Ice, really, really good, really enjoy it. And then there was a second single that came out at pretty much exactly the same time, which you will have heard of, Soft Cell and Pet Shop Boys, Purple Zone. And I think the original version of this on the original version of the Soft Cell album is just Soft Cell, but later pressings have the Pet Shop Boys version on, and they had they effectively remixed the track, added vocals, did a duet, starred in a video. Even though Soft Cell wrote it, it's basically a joint single, and they're guesting on the track. So this has, depending on which format you get, there's a CD single. And the CD single, I think this is a CDR actually. It really looks like a CDR when you look at it. You can kind of tell when you look at a CDR because it's not silver. It's kind of got this goldy sheen to it. So then this features a single version, the Pet Shop Boys extended version, and the Manhattan Clique remix, and a cover version of The Day the World Turns Day Glow on there. On the 12-inch. Now, if you'd have ever thought, what colour do you think Purple Zone is going to be on 12-inch? Obviously, if you've already seen it, don't write in. But if you haven't, what colour do you think it is? If you said black, you're absolutely right. Of all the things to put on coloured vinyl, not putting your Purple Zone single on purple vinyl is the sound of an open goal being missed there, guys. It really, really is. But Purple Zone, yeah, this 12-inch has 3 remixes, the single version with Pet Shop Boys, the extended mix, the club mix, and the club dub. So that is your definitive format to get there. I really enjoy this song. It's very obviously Soft Cell have written it, and again they've added their Pet Shop Boys filter to it, but they've not made it a full Pet Shop Boys song, if that makes sense. So it's been a pretty tough time actually, because there's not been much in the way of new material that's come out during lockdown. Obviously there's been Cricket Wife, there's been Beautiful Laundrette, there's been the remixes. The main thing that came out, which was in April 2023, and this came with this year's version of the annually book, was the Lost EP. And the Lost EP features 4 songs that were recorded in 2015 in the early part of the recording for the Super album. And I think Lost is a great title for it for 2 reasons, 3 reasons actually. The first one is it's a commentary upon COVID. We had 18 months near enough where we couldn't really go anywhere and we couldn't really do anything and we couldn't really see anybody, and that period felt like it was a lost period in history. If you think back now about the memories that you might have had during the COVID periods, there aren't very many of them. Nothing really sticks out because there weren't any highs, there were lots of lows. And the most exciting thing I did for weeks on end was walk to the supermarket. Heck, the most exciting thing I do these days is walk to the supermarket. But now it's my choice, whereas before, obviously, it wasn't my choice. And the Lost EP is effectively 4 songs, very similar to the 2019 Fan Club EP Agenda, which are orphans. They don't really have anywhere else that they belong. And there's the 4 songs that are on there are The Lost Room, I Will Fall, Skeletons in the Closet, and Kaputnik. And talking through each one of those individual songs, The Lost Room, which again was recorded in 2014-2015, is based upon or inspired by a book called The Confessions of Young Taurus by Robert Musil. And the book was published in 1906. The film was made in 1966. And it's the lyrics are around, I think, being a child at a military school being brutalized by regimented behaviors and thinking, and around how there's a very powerful line about how survival of the fittest meant destruction of the weak. And it's about living now with the memories of the past and remembering those memories and thinking about what have you lost over time. How has history and events taken things away from you and turned you into somebody else, which is a pretty sobering way to start the EP. The next track is I Will Fall. And I Will Fall is, according to Neil, a straightforward love song, and there isn't anything very complicated about it. Now, I Will Fall is used in the context of falling in love, but it also means a fall, a demise. It's like when you meet somebody and you go into a relationship with somebody, and sometimes those relationships are toxic and destructive. Falling in love is actually around falling from grace or security or whatever it is that you had before that moment that you met that person. And I don't think many people start relationships with the ideas that somehow awful things are going to happen as a result of it, and hearts are going to be broken and there's going to be tears and everything that goes with it. But at that point, you're not really thinking like that at all, isn't it? You're kind of going with the moment, as Suede sang on that great song Outsiders. And it's a little bit like the song Into Thin Air. It's about kind of running into something, disappearing into something, kind of losing yourself in something and falling in love, and how it goes with that, but not necessarily in a fully negative way. But it's a good song, not amazing. Number 3 is Skeletons in the Closet, and I think this is a really interesting song about the nature of society, because the phrase in the closet, aside from the terrible usage by R. Kelly, has a number of connotations that goes with it. The idea of a skeleton in the closet is this secret, this thing about you that you've got to conceal and hide from people because you're being judged by society. Now, historically, that might have been your sexuality or your background. People that wanted to hide their accent because they don't want people to know they come from Birmingham or other places, for example. And also the idea of living in an oppressive regime that doesn't allow you to fully express who you are, what you think, or what you feel. And I think it's a slightly scary song, but also I think that phrase about being in the closet is a phrase that's used to describe someone who's gay that doesn't want anyone to know that they're gay, still exists to this day, and it works well in that respect. And they thought about, at the time that this song was written, there was a new staging of Closer to Heaven that I think was in Australia. There was a talk about perhaps swapping one of the songs out at the start of the second act and putting Skeletons in the Closet in. Since I'd never been to Australia, I have no idea if it was in there or not. And to be honest, I haven't Googled it because I haven't got the intellectual curiosity to do so. And then the last track is Kaputnik, which, tying in with the Russian themes that we've got from Skeletons in the Closet, which is inspired at least partially by the idea of living in an oppressive regime like Russia as was, and Kaputnik is a portmanteau, is a combination of two words. One, the German kaput, which means dead, over, done, and then there's words like Kaputnik, Rotnik, Robotnik, those type of things. It's the idea of a status or an existence as a worker. So Kaputnik is a non-functional worker in that respect, and it was used by Russian soldiers, I think, and German soldiers at the end of the Second World War. Hitler is Kaputnik, that type of thing. And it was in the wake of the invasion in Ukraine in 2022 and the Crimean conflict in 2014, 2015, the spectre of Russian intervention on an international basis has come to the forefront of Neil's mind. But that's not the first time, of course. If you think about songs like My October Symphony, for example, then there's been a number of times where he and Go West, the video for Go West shot at the Red Square in Moscow. There's been a number of times where the use of Russia imagery and history has been part of Pet Shop Boys' discography. So that's the Lost EP. I don't know if it's still available from petshopboys.co.uk. If it is and you want it, you should probably get it, because they aren't going to be making any more of it. And if you have got it already, great, you've got a rarity in your collection. There is a fifth song which is on the digital download version of Lost, called Living in the Past, that I think was recorded and written in February 22, the immediate aftermath of the first weeks or so of the Ukraine invasion. And that's around, I think, the shadow of Russian history, of Stalin and the Kremlin, and all of that kind of hanging over the old school authoritarianism that you will have in a dictatorship. There is a lovely pun in that particular song about using the word disgust as in talked about, but that sounds very, very close to the word disgust, as in, Mark, I want you to eat a plate of Brussels sprouts. Ugh, disgust, that type of thing. So it's I think a good EP and a good addition to the band's body of work. But of course, the only place you can get it is inside the annually release from April 2023. And then there was one more thing that came out in June 2023, so this month, or at least I think it was this month. It's the Pet Shop Boys remix of a track called Think of a Number, the Magic Eye 12-inch version, which is on Noel Gallagher's new album, Council Skies. And what a beautiful remix it is. It really is. It sounds like it's always been a duet between Noel and Neil, and wonderful track. Strongly recommend you listen to it, even if you are completely averse to the existence of Noel Gallagher. Just think of him as the guest vocalist on the track, and perhaps you won't do so bad, really. I think it's fair to say the Think of a Number Magic Eye remix on the deluxe edition of Council Skies is glorious, and I strongly recommend it to every man, woman and child that ever watches this. So June 2023, Friday, which I think was the 17th of June, also saw the release of, after Discography and Pop Art and Party and Ultimate, the fifth Pet Shop Boys greatest hits release, and that is Smash. You bored yet? I'm going to stop. Smash. Now, Smash was originally thought about or came about because Warner Brothers asked the band if they could put discography back onto vinyl, because discography has been unavailable on vinyl for over 30 years now, and as we know, vinyl is the new black. And so the band thought about it. Well, could we do a discography 1 and a discography 2 and a discography 3? And then kind of the conversations kind of progressed along from that. And there was an idea of doing a best of compilation, or all the singles. Now, if it was a best of compilation, it would be called Dreamworld, hence the tour here, which I saw on Saturday night, which is, I think, Greatest Hits Live. And then the kind of other idea that they had was to call it Hit Music, but Pet Shop Boys albums never have 2-word titles. They only have 1-word titles. So you think about Please, Disco, Actually, Introspective, Behaviour, Very, Relentless, Bilingual, Nightlife. What's after Nightlife? Release, Fundamental, Yes, Elysium, Electric, Super, Hotspot, Discography, Pop Art, Party, Ultimate. The only time they haven't had single word titles on their albums, titles that I can think of, have been the soundtracks to things like The Most Incredible Thing and Battleship Potemkin. So having 2 words as a title, oh, that's very bad indeed. We can't be doing that. Let's suck the teeth and go, not sure we can do that. Instead, we had Smash, and Smash works as a couple of ways, one of which is they've smashed all the hits together. Another one could be a slight commentary about over-compressed, low decibel ratings on albums where they've super compressed it. It's really loud. They've smashed the song. The third one is, of course, Neil used to work at Smash Hits. So there, Smash Hits, Hit Music. Could be called Smash Hits Music. And then the last one is the title where something is a hit, it's a smash. So there you go. And also, of course, if you're a particular fan of 70s or 80s condensed potato with robots, then Smash is a potato from the 70s and my childhood. So let's go through Smash, and then let's talk about the hits, which are the hits show, which I saw at Wembley Arena. So as a compilation, it does what it says on the tin. It is the singles from 1985 to 2020, with a couple of exceptions. And that is taking a track that was released as a single using the dominant format of the time. So for the first few releases, that would have been a 7-inch up to Suburbia. From It's a Sin through to I Don't Wanna, the last track on the compilation, the 40... Oh, it isn't 40, isn't it? It's nearly 55-ish songs. The last track on there, I Don't Wanna, and it's all of them were either a 7-inch or a CD single. But since the CD single became the dominant format in about 1988, there are some 7-inches and some 12-inch vinyl releases which haven't had a release and aren't included on Smash, which I find a little frustrating. And here's just a few of them. So obviously the first release of West End Girls, which, because it came out before 1985, is not included. We have the 2010 7-inch single for Record Store Day, Love Life, which I think should have been on there. We have the 2019 7-inch single Burning the Heather, which wasn't released on CD, and this was a single in my opinion. It has a specific B-side, Decide. We also got the Agenda EP, which wasn't a single, but it was a non-album release, and although you do get one track from Agenda on the Blu-ray, which is on social media, which is a little strange, and of course you don't get anything off Lost either, because it wasn't released. Even though it was released as a CD, it wasn't released to retail as a CD, and because Undertow was released as a 12-inch to retail, but only as a CD in the Fan Club EP, you don't get Undertow either on this. So generally, it's a pretty inconsistent set of songs, and I would have thought if you're a fan of Pet Shop Boys and you kind of think, where's the bait? Where's the thing that makes somebody buy this? Apart from the fact that it's all the singles chronologically in order, but not all of the singles, because it's missing quite a few of them. Well, let's let's tuck in, shall we, into this 5-disc box set, and we have to go through and talk about what's missing. So CD1 is basically discography remastered and expanded, and by expanded what I mean is they've gone through. It's about 10 seconds longer, by the way. Smash CD1, it's 10 seconds longer than discography, primarily because some of the fades on some of the tracks are slightly different, but of course over 18 songs that's only 1 or 2 seconds per song at most. And there are some slightly different mixes on there, but it presents them all in as chronological a format as you can get. It starts with West End Girls and not with 1985's Opportunity single. And the cover art there, it kind of takes a smashed up version of the cover of the actually LP. So there's that famous image of Neil yawning there. The second CD, and this is singles 1993 to 2004, is the infamous Pointy Hats period. And the Pointy Hats period, again, is expanded, and kind of you've got kind of like a vision of a smash cut. So in film, a smash cut is where you go from being quite far away to being quite close very, very quickly, and the image super blurs as you come close to it. There's the image there for the smash cut cover for CD2 of the singles, 1993 to 2004. And actually, if you look at the cover art there, you can see the dominant colours in each one of the covers as well. So they've got reproductions of the covers inside. CD3, I wonder what the picture's there. So that is, I think, a photograph of the band from around about 2009. I think this is the singles, 2006 to 2020. Again, the cover there features a kind of like a blurred version of the dominant colours that you've got on this release. So actually, when you look at that, there's a fair chunk of white, there's a little bit of purple, some black, some orange. You can clearly see that the orange there is that's Did You See Me Coming, I think, is there. Then there's Love Is a Bourgeois Construct, Vocal, that bit, that blur is Pop Kids, then it goes there, and it kind of puts them all together in a circular fashion, and it presents the imagery. So that chunk of red there, I think, is probably Love, etc. It looks like a flag for a country, doesn't it? But it's a country that can't quite make up its mind. And maybe the People's Republic of Pet Shop Boys. And so that's CD3. And I've got some criticisms around those because some of the mixes aren't quite right. The version of Love, etc. on here has different drums on a bar, the bar around Gerard Richter and Love, etc. The version of Somewhere that's on this features Chris's spoken introduction, which they didn't have clearance for on the actual 7-inch, for example. And there's also on this CD is the US radio edit of New York City Boy because the band preferred it. And then we have the rest of the package, which is 2 Blu-rays and a book. So Blu-ray number 1, that's Pet Shop Boys from Performance. Some of the editions of Performance had a photograph of them from here, so this is 1991, and again that features a staggering 53 videos over 4 hours and 2 minutes, and yes, I've watched them all. So if you're buying this set to get the videos in high definition on Blu-ray, you're in for an enormous disappointment. The videos are remastered, but it is used AI upscaling from VHS masters. Some of the videos, I mean, obviously most of the videos were filmed on film, but they were edited on video. They haven't gone back to the original film and rescanned it and recompiled the videos. They've taken the highest quality masters that they've got, which presumably is professional VHS, and they've remastered it. They've applied DNR, which is digital noise reduction, and they've applied AI upscaling. So if you've watched any concerts from the 80s on YouTube that were shot on a single bootleg video in the corner, and someone goes, "No, 4K remastered, upscaled," and really what you're doing is you've got something that's very waxy, it's lacking definition, it's lacking clearness, there's lots of edging and blocking on the video channel. It's not acceptable. It's just not up to the standard that you would expect from a product, especially one that's being presented on Blu-ray. So the skin textures are very waxy, they're very flat, very much like the early version of Predator, by the way. They've mistaken upscaling and smoothness for detail, which is not the case at all. There's no definition in the detail. There's edging and blocking on some of them. So, for example, it feels like they've been composited cheaply using special effects in a hurry for television. So, for example, where Neil walks in front of something and he's wearing a black outfit, and he's walking in front of something that's grey, you can see like a thin white bar that wouldn't exist in the original negative as he walks kind of through it. It's pretty strange, actually, and it's not up to the standard I would expect from the quality of something. So really, if you're buying it for the videos, you'll be sorely disappointed. Actually, on the video for I don't know what you want, but I can't give it anymore. Neil's got a slight hint of stubble, and the definition that we've got on that stubble just looks like someone's covered him in dust and there's lots of small black holes all over his face, as opposed to, you can't tell that that's stubble. And you really should. The mastering, the upscaling, and the DNR that's on the Blu-ray is shocking and incompetent, and it shouldn't have been released in this standard. It's cheap, it's shoddy, and it shouldn't be charged for it, because it's just not bloody good enough. Full stop. All right. It's like if somebody said to me, I put in, like, you know that CGI shot of the Rock from The Mummy, where he's very clearly been rendered on the PlayStation, and they somehow put it into a 1990s movie. It looks worse than that, for God's sake. It's awful. It's just not good enough at all. Now, there's a second disc of video, this featuring the art from around about the Ultimate era, which again has been smashed, and this features a whole 13 video tracks. So let's go through and see what it's got. So it's got the original opportunities, the first opportunities, the first Paninero video, the extended version of Domino Dancing, the extended version of So Hard, How Can You Be Taken Seriously, the extended version of Go West, London, Integral, a live version of All Around the World, a video for Invisible, which bloody well should be on the original, by the way, because it was released as a download single, I think. The video for Axis, which that is in glorious quality, by the way. So the videos for Invisible and Axis are in glorious quality. And then official lyric videos for On Social Media and Burning the Heather. So on social media, from the Agenda EP. Hello, I'm the Agenda EP. There are lyric videos for every track on Agenda. So Give Stupidity a Chance, What Are We Going to Do About the Rich, and The Forgotten Child also have lyric videos. They inexplicably are not on this. Okay, so there's lyric videos for a number of tracks which aren't on here. So yes, there's The Forgotten Child, What We're Going to Do About the Rich, Give Stupidity a Chance. There's a lyric video for Leaving, that's not on there. Absolutely Fabulous isn't on here. The video for 20 Something, the remix, is not on here. The video for Lost Room isn't on here. The West End Girls Lockdown video is not on here. There's also the interstitials, which appeared in the home video releases of Show Business, I Like It Here Wherever It Is, and the television VHS from 1960. They aren't on here, which is baffling. There's also a major omission, which I cannot believe isn't on here. Okay, so we had in 1993 the VHS of Projections, which is Derek Jarman's films from the Pet Shop Boys first tour. So these are official Derek Jarman promos and videos for a number of tracks. And that, by the way, of the songs which they did do the promotional videos for, see which ones are singles: Opportunities, Heart, Paninero, It's a Sin, Domino Dancing, King's Cross, that wasn't a single, Always on My Mind, Violence, which was a B-side, and Being Boring. So only 2 of the songs out of the 46 minutes worth of Derek Jarman videos on Projections weren't actually singles, and they couldn't be fucking bothered to stick it on here, and that is not good enough. It's sloppy and it's shoddy and it's a rip-off, because you end up paying, and you know, the retail on this is something like £54. It's now down to 36 on Amazon because it's not selling enough copies, and you end up doing a second Blu-ray, some of which is mostly in VHS quality, and you end up taking off something like 13 or 14 videos that exist, that are available, that are on YouTube, some of them in very high definition, in the favour of 13 bonus videos. But the criteria for which the bonus videos are applied to on the bonus disc is inconsistent. Okay, so if you're going to have the video for On Social Media, the official lyric video, you better fucking well have the one for What We're Going to Do About the Rich and The Forgotten Child and Give Stupidity a Chance, because those are on the same EP. In fact, gives on social media is the second track on the EP, not the first one. So even if you're going to put only the first track from the EP on, you should put the official lyric video for Give Stupidity a Chance. But you don't. It's poor form. It really is. And it feels like a rip-off. Especially when you think that there's one, two, three, four lyric videos that aren't on there. There's the video for Absolutely Fabulous. There's 20 something. That's 6 videos plus the 8 that are on projection. That's 14 videos. There's more stuff missing off the video extras than is on the video extras, and it's poor form and it's inconsistent and it's a bloody rip-off. So it's not good enough. I don't know who signed it off, but it isn't. We also get a booklet. The booklet gives each single a page and talks about each one of them over a 50-something page booklet. Most of the text that's in this book you will know if you are a huge fan, because you will have bought the Further Listening deluxe editions, and you will also have bought various versions of Annually where they talk about the singles. So there's very little in here that's actually tempting to a completist like me. It's the most unsatisfactory comprehensive greatest hits or singles release that I've got. It says the singles 1985 to 2020. It doesn't have all the singles on. It doesn't have all the videos on. It doesn't have all of the right mixes on. It's just poor, and buy it cheap, don't pay full price for it. What a shame, because I'm really looking forward to this. And the thing of which I was buying it for more than anything else was the Blu-ray. I know what the songs sound like. I've loved the songs for years. So the Blu-ray is the newest stuff. It's the stuff I don't have, and it's crap. Smash shit. On the plus side, though, I did see the band on Saturday night. I saw them at Wembley Arena, and it was an incredible show. They're just wrapping up the 2023 part of the Dreamworld tour. They've got, I think, a total of 58 shows over 22 and 23, which they've got 25 this year. I think they've got about another 7 or 8 to do, and then they're going to South America in November and December, like places like Bogota, I imagine. And when I saw them at Wembley, it was wonderful. I've not seen them play a bad show, but it was perfect in the presentation. So the lineup of the band is the same as 2016 to 19, with the exceptions. So the one of the vocalists and keyboard players has changed. But aside from that, it's got the same double drummers, keyboard players, guitarists kind of lineup that we had on 2016 for the Inner Sanctum shows. And the tour was very well structured. So we had, I think, 26 songs over 2 hours. Most of the songs were played in arrangements that bent in and out of each other. So it was near continuous. There were short breaks every once in a while, but it would not be unusual for you to get 4 or 5 songs that would appear in a continuous medley lump that would appear together. And you just got this sense of being taken on a journey through the Pet Shop Boys world. So there are effectively, I think, 6 main acts in the show. The opening 4 or 5 songs are around, or all the lyrics are geared around society and structure and politics. So that's Suburbia, Can You Forgive Her, Opportunities, Where the Streets Have No Name, and Rent. And there are songs that bridge each one of those acts, and they move into a different area. So, for example, Rent has that line about "I love you, you pay my rent," which is, there's an element of discussion around society and the structure of society and expectations around society, and the sneaky act of rent boys and everything that goes with it. But those songs are all around Suburbia, for example, Opportunities. They're all around money, politics, society, the world we live in, and life in general. And then Rent kind of moves into the second act, which is, again, I don't know what you want, but I can't give it anymore. So Hard, Left to My Own Devices, Single Bilingual, Say a Vida A, and Domino Dancing. And those songs are about being in relationships or not being in relationships, as the case might be, or the end of a relationship. So you've got the social commentary. You've then got songs that are about human interaction and politics between human beings. That goes with Domino Dancing is the last track of that particular section. And I was really pleased to see Single Bilingual and Say Vida A. I think Single Bilingual is a very underrated Pet Shop Boys song. More people should like it. It really should, but it was the wrong album at the wrong time when it came out in 1996, because everyone was walking around being wankers in Union Jack guitars and hooded tops, or Parker jackets, fucking Parker monkeys, doing that kind of thing. We then got a very small section, it's only 2 songs, which I call the party section, which is Monkey Business and New York City Boy. There's not really a reason for those to be anywhere, but you've got to have a bit where you've got just like a nice up, shallow section of party songs. And then we've got another section which moves away from or revisits the concept of relationships, but from a slightly different angle. This one's more desolate and more broken, I think. Whereas we've got Jealousy, the first song they ever wrote, which by the way really sounded like Depeche's A Question of Lust. We had Love Comes Quickly, Palinero, Always on My Mind, Dreamland, a short episode of I Want to Wake Up, which is wonderful, in exactly the right place, and then Heart and What Have I Done to Deserve This. And it's lovely to see Heart again. I haven't seen it for a long time played live, and I don't think I've ever seen I Want to Wake Up played live. I don't think they've ever played it actually before this tour. But What Have I Done to Deserve This is the song that kind of pivots from love into pleasure. So the fifth act of the show is around pleasure and hedonism, and finding a place where you can be who you are, a place where the streets have no name, a dreamland as such, where it's all right and every track has a vocal and we all go west. Last track of the main set is It's a Sin. The idea that feels so good, it's got to be a crime, as Prince had it in the 80s. And it's just a wonderful bit of staging. It's a wonderful song. There was this wonderful atmosphere actually at Wembley Arena, this party atmosphere. Everyone's like, we're seeing a band that we love and everything is right in the world. It's all right. And then the last 2 tracks, the encore songs, are West End Girls and Being Boring. And the imagery and the staging at the end for West End Girls moving into Being Boring kind of moved around, because the stage set was started off with like 2 street lamps and a vision of a huge endless highway as we travel through history and time. And then it came back to that imagery at the end, and the idea is as we were never being boring because we were never being bored. And the idea of looking back over everything that you've experienced with the band, and these songs were, the soundtrack to my life. Every single one of those songs that came out at the time it came out had something to say to me about the world that I lived in, and the imagery around moving on continuing on a highway. This is just part of the journey. We're just looking back at what's happened over time, but we're only halfway there. Right, Bon Jovi, although I reckon Bon Jovi's probably 3/4 of the way there by now. And then that closed the show off. It's glorious. I absolutely love the show. It was everything that I wanted from a great show. What I was surprised about was the absence of later period songs. So there was no sign of Integral, Minimal, I'm With Stupid, I Get Along, for example. You Only Tell Me You Love Me When You're Drunk, which was played on the earlier part of the tour. No sign of something like Beautiful People, Did You See Me Coming, Love, etc., Leaving. All right, maybe not Winner, because Winner's not great. Love is Bourgeois, Construct, Pop Kids. Why wasn't Pop Kids in the set list? Pop Kids is a perfect song for this. Put it at the beginning of the set, saying we are the pop kids, we love the pop hits, this is the pop hits show, this is the greatest hits show. Would have been the perfect song to put at the beginning of the set, but it wasn't in there for some reason. And like Depeche Mode, if you play later songs in the set list, they become live classics because you play them live and you play them well. If you only play them on the tour that relates to the album which it came out with, and then you never play it again, it never becomes a live classic, and then people think that you're a nostalgia act. And when you're still releasing new material, you shouldn't ever be thought of as a nostalgia act. There was no sense when I was listening to Super or Hotspot that this was a band that were good once and aren't good anymore, and that I'm putting up with the new stuff because I'm going to get the old stuff at the end of the show. No sense of that whatsoever when we've got songs like Inner Sanctum, Burn, Pop Kids, Monkey Business. Really love Monkey Business, or even not even a recognition of the fact that as a civilization, mankind has been through some heavy shit over the past few years, and the song I Don't Want to Go Out, perfect for the times. Why not play it at the show? Drum machines don't get tired, and you can rotate the set around a little bit. Now, admittedly, what would you take out of that set? Oh God, there's not much you could take out of it. They're all fantastic hits, but I wish that they'd played more later material at the show. And the only other thing I will add about the show at Wembley Arena is that it was very poorly organised in terms of London overall. So there were 5 major shows in London that night. Arctic Monkeys at the Emirates Stadium, Depeche Mode at Twickenham, Harry Styles at Wembley Stadium, which again was only 100 yards away from Wembley Arena, and then there was a big gig over at the O2 as well, but an artist of whom I've forgotten. And there was a train strike, and more correctly, there was engineering works on the main train line that runs between London and where I live. And I was really worried that when I got to the train wouldn't be running, or it'd be standing room only, or people couldn't get on it because it was so busy. And it was very poorly organised. And I do wonder if anybody at Network Rail had the gumption to put the things together and go, guys, we've got like 5 major gigs, including 3 stadium gigs in London that weekend. Could we do it the weekend after when there aren't any stadium gigs in London? And nobody sat down and went, yeah, that's probably a good idea. We'll move it a week. You know, nobody thought like that, which is shoddy and poor. And it was quite annoying. I don't like being annoyed about things. I like being pretty happy. And you've probably worked out, I'm generally an optimistic kind of guy, despite the number of Cure records I own. So, yeah, I certainly, if they're playing and you like them, the Dreamworld show is phenomenally good. It's one of the best presentations. I really look forward to the not necessarily inevitable Blu-ray or DVD of the show. But I will wrap up here. I will tell you that Smash isn't very good. A basic lack of care and attention to the mastering, the compiling, and the track listing have undone this. It could have been a perfect package, and it isn't, because it falls short on quality control and content. As I've said before, the video disc is missing at least 14 official videos. The main promos video disc on Blu-rays is poorly mastered with lots of waxy, unrealistic faces, colours, smoothing, and bad digital noise reduction and upscaling. It looks shoddy and cheap, like the whole thing has been shot with cameras smeared in Vaseline, and it's not good enough. It really isn't. And the band should have invested more money in remastering them sympathetically, going back to the original film, rescanning the original film, and recreating them in the edit suite, as opposed to just throwing a bit of DNR noise reduction, going, fuck it, that'll do. Kind of looks like Neil if Neil was an action man and no one's really paying attention anyway. Who cares? It should have been better. And the choice of songs on the 3 CDs is woefully incomplete. There isn't much space on the CDs for the extra tracks, but the fact that there isn't Absolutely Fabulous, Burning the Heather, Love Life on there, let alone anything from Agenda or Lost, is not good enough. It's poor. It's really poor and incomplete. So Smash is not an unreserved thumbs up from me. Don't pay full price for it. Wait until it gets a little bit cheaper, because it will get cheaper. It's only sold 7,832 copies, so it should be in the top 5 when the charts are announced later on in the week. But it's not the definitive package. Absolutely not. Don't go for it. And that's sadly where we are, I'm afraid to say. But all credit to the band for touring, releasing new material, albeit in weird forms, and doing a fistful of remixes. Some of these are, well, that isn't a remix, but some of these are really good. I strongly recommend you get them. And of course, they're all streaming. So if you don't want to buy big, expensive lumps of pressed wax, then you can always just listen to them on your computer, which is more fun anyway. And with that, I am going to wrap up, and I will see you all again some other time. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and each other. Stay beautiful, and I will see you shortly. Okay, bye. Or, as Neil Tennant would say, we're the Pet Shop Boys and we love you. Good night.